we are about to proceed with the trial.
After the defendant left, and she went back to sleep. You're under arrest. Those are the words the defendant, Jamel Brandow, said to a 10-year-old girl. You're under arrest, as he took 2 zip ties and zip-tied her wrists together. We're going to play a game called Cops and Robbers. A 36-year-old man, Jamel Brandow, wants to play Cops and Robbers with a 10-year-old girl. After he zip-ties her hands together in her mother's bedroom at 526 State Street here in the city of Hudson in the county of Columbia, he pulls off of her pants. He pulls down her underwear. And then he does the same to himself. He pulls down his own pants and his own underwear, and then tries to have sex to the extent that he stops. Still bound by her wrists, the defendant takes her into the bathroom. In the bathroom, he lies her on the floor, and then he forces himself on her and has sexual intercourse. And she's going to tell you that even when she was restrained, this defendant still threatened her and exposed her to a risk of serious physical injury. Because after he had sex with her, the evidence will show that he tried a second time and tried to get her to come back into the room with him while holding a knife. Was not the first person who had an experience like this with Jamel Brandow. That one time when she was left alone with Jamel Brandow between September of 2018 and April of 2019, Jamel Brandow attempted to have sexual intercourse. She was 8 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence in this case will show that this defendant acted in a manner likely to be injurious to the physical, the mental, and the moral welfare of these 2 children, 8 and 10 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence in this case will show and prove each and every element of these crimes beyond a reasonable doubt. At the conclusion of our trial, I'll have an opportunity to come back here and summarize all of the evidence with you and go through each and everything that you're going to hear throughout this entire trial. And in closing, I'll ask you to return the only verdict that the evidence will allow, and that is guilty on all 7 counts. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
This case, the beauty of being in 2023 is that we have science that can help us understand whether or not something occurred or not. That science is important, and I want you to hear that science, because this isn't 1970, 1965, when all we have is a witness's word, or maybe an eyewitness that could see something. We have science that can back up allegations or refute allegations. So the only thing that I can ask of you today, and as we progress through this process. Let's just please keep an open mind. Listen to all the testimony. Pay attention to the evidence. Pay attention to what you hear in this case and what you don't hear in this case. Watch for those signs of credibility that we talked about in the jury selection as to whether or not you believe the testimony of any of the witnesses or whether or not you think there may be some inconsistencies or some credibility issues. And when I come back up in front of you at the end of this case, after hearing all of that evidence and seeing what the people have provided, I'm confident that you're going to find Jamal not guilty of this heinous allegation. There will be no other verdict. There will be so much reasonable doubt when you get to the end of this case that the only fair and just verdict would be not guilty. I look forward to speaking to you again at the end of this case, either the end of this week or early next week, after we've seen all the evidence, and we'll have a much different discussion.